So AI companies are buying up, scanning, and destroying books. Books can be scanned non-destructively, but it's faster to slice their spines off and then scan them. So that's what they're doing. We've known for a while that AI companies have been using authors' works without their permissions to train the LLMs. But when we see books actually getting destroyed, it's distressing. They're doing this because they need data that hasn't already been poisoned by AI itself. So they need books that were published before 2022. And in many cases, they're buying up very old or rare books, and then they're fine with destroying them. Partly because it's just easier and cheaper for them, and also probably because they want a monopoly on knowledge. And we know that. They've said that. It works for them if both our knowledge and our reasoning are exported to their AI. It's now their knowledge and their reasoning, and we have to go to them for it because we have lost our knowledge and our reasoning. When we see books being destroyed, we suddenly have this mental reorganization where we suddenly see the books themselves as a weak point because they can so easily be destroyed. This shows us that we need more distributed systems of knowledge and memory. On the one hand, that could look like personal libraries, personal backups of things, having something on your own hard drives or servers, not the cloud, which is just someone else's computer, as we know. But I'm here to say that in addition to personal copies of printed materials and published materials, we could expand that distributed network of knowledge by using ourselves, by storing the knowledge within ourselves and within our own minds. Now, that's something that seems kind of crazy in our culture, both because there's so much knowledge to be had and because we've gone through many generations of being able to write things down and not having to store them in our minds. But indigenous cultures all over the world have done this for thousands of years very successfully. They had to have systems of oral tradition that were good enough to keep everyone safe and fed and to remember so many other things. I don't think in our current day and age we give enough credit to how much knowledge and information was passed down, is passed down, and can be passed down. This is a little dark, but I, for some reason, often wonder if I was in solitary confinement, i.e., if the world was taken away from me, would the contents of my own mind be enough to keep me sane and get me through? I imagine that if I knew long, beautiful, epic poems, if I had stories and songs memorized, if I could go into my own memory palaces, then I would do much better than otherwise. Likewise, the book people in Fahrenheit 451 memorize literature. They memorize books or parts of books so that it cannot be taken away from them. The brain is not itself a muscle, as Hank Green is happy to remind us, but it does get better with practice. And I think that memorizing important and useful and beautiful things increases our autonomy and independence. It makes us less reliant on these entities, essentially giant tech companies that are outside of us, who do not have our best interests in mind. Now, once again, I don't think that this is the only solution, that we need to suddenly completely revert back to oral tradition. Obviously, it has its own weaknesses, but there's something about relocating that authority of knowledge within ourselves that I think would be really helpful for us individually and as a group. So I intend to start with something small. I'm going to start by memorizing a poem. I don't know which one yet, but I want to start exercising that. Yes, I know it's not a muscle, Hank Green, but exercising that faculty. And I'd love if you would too. If you have a poem or song that maybe you want to memorize, let me know in the comments. I would love to hear about it.